So it is good. It's good to be with you guys tonight. So we're starting or we're actually continuing on our relationship series. Do you remember what we talked about last week? Parents. Yeah, we talked about our relationship with our parents, and so that was awesome last week. And so tonight we're going to be talking and continuing on with our series. And tonight we're looking at dating. Woohoo! Yeah. All right. So who's excited? All right. Cool. So let's get into this. So first of all, when you hear, you're like, oh great, Derek's talking about dating. Awesome. You're like, he is going to be talking about, he's going to give us the talk, right? And most of you guys are like, stop it right now. So I'll put you at ease. We're not having the talk tonight. Okay, we're not having the talk. And then first of all, then you're thinking, oh, he's actually going to tell me to wait. He's going to say that dating is evil and dating is the worst thing in the world and you should not do it. And there's part of me that wants to say that because I'm like, y'all are too young. But I'm not going to also say that, oh my gosh, dating is the worst thing in the world. You should never ever do it. It's evil. It's of the devil. Some of you guys are thinking that maybe he's going to say that as well. First of all, I want to acknowledge that there are some of you guys that are in the room that are thinking, dating, why are we talking about dating? I have no interest in this whatsoever. I mean, if I was in 7th grade, I was like, when I was in 7th grade, I was still like, I don't even think I knew what a girl was. And some of you like, girls in the room maybe are sometimes thinking too, like, dating, ew. Like, some of these guys don't even shower, they smell, they're loud, obnoxious. Let's not. So, but there's some of you guys that for you, some of you guys think like, oh, dating, I'm all about that. So, tonight we're going to look at it. And first of all, I want to tell you about my first dating story. Yeah, who's excited? All right, so, who's excited? All right, let me tell you my first dating story. So whenever I was y'all's age, as I told you, like I was kind of very standoffish, and I was like, ew, that's just not cool. I don't want to ever be part of that ever. And so in high school, I didn't have my first like girlfriend until I was probably like 16, maybe 17, probably 16. And because I don't think I was the coolest guy in high school. Like I had horrible bangs. I had like my teeth just were like, they were going everywhere. And like, my interests were at the time I had 2 pet rabbits, and so wasn't really the greatest of conversation starters. And so, my first dating story, I got set up. Has anybody ever heard of that or know people that got set up? So, whenever I was in high school, a couple of these people. Whenever I was in high school, these group of girls that came to me and said, "Hey, one of my friends think that you're cute," and I said, "Oh my gosh." I never got told that before. Wow. And so they're like, here's the person's number. And so we start doing this thing, like I'm sure you're aware, like the texting thing. I don't even think we met face to face at this point. They're like, hey, I'm the guy that your friends were telling you about. And so we started texting. And then we started texting, and then we said, hey, we should probably like talk in person. You know, like do the things that you're meant to do. And so what we did was we went to the movies. The movies was our first date, and you know, it's kind of like an awkward like first date because you're there in the movies. It's like it's you can't really talk that much. You know, you're in a quiet place. And actually, first of all, I wanted to show you this. This was a funny message that I seen on the Google, and basically this person texted and he said a bunch of questions, 6 questions. The first one: what is the first name of the guy on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Number 2: what is the letter after T? What is the opposite of stop? 3 strikes and you're. To find the area of a rectangle, use length times. And 6, do, re, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And then she filled out the blanks and it said, will you go out with me? And he says, of course I will, ... I don't know, so if any of you guys are looking to ask a girl or a guy out on a date and you want just to know any pointers, here you go. But first of all, I was in the movie, back to the movies. And so you see this scene in the movies. Yes, you see this and you're like, oh, yeah, okay. And you're like, oh, great, now we're at this stage. Okay, So this is me. This is me in the movies. My first date. This is the first time we actually like began to talk in person, and so that was exciting. But whenever I was in high school, whenever I was in high school, I kind of felt pressure to date. I admit that I wasn't the coolest guy around, but I felt pressure to date because there was so much of it going on around me. A lot of the guys that I played soccer with and rugby with, a lot of these people were in relationships, and so I felt like kind of pressurized to do it because it seemed like a trendy thing at the time. And I felt like I felt like these people that were in these relationships, they seemed happy, or at least on Instagram they seemed happy. At least on social media, like they posted the really cool pictures of them together, and it seemed really, really happy, like they were having a good time. Because I sometimes struggled with being alone. I don't know about you, but sometimes whenever I would feel lonely, and I'd see my friends hanging out with this other person, and they seemed really, really happy and not alone. And so tonight, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. But first of all, I want to talk to you about this. It's finding or becoming. Because so often in life, we are told that if you find blank, you're going to be extremely happy. You'll be complete. And so in my mind, as a 16-year-old guy, as a teenager, I'm thinking, if I find this specific person, I am going to be so happy. I mean, then I won't have to worry about anything. It's going to be great. And you can fill that blank in with so many different things. But tonight, we're just going to talk about dating. Everything will be better when this happens. I believe that too, and I tried and tried and tried in high school to fill this emptiness and to try to be happy, and I tried to pursue relationships, and it just didn't work until when I was 16. But here's the thing. Happiness isn't finding the right person, it's becoming the right person. I'll say it again. Happiness isn't finding the right person, it's becoming the right person. I rushed into far too many things before I was ready, before I was mature enough. I jumped into relationships whenever I could, whenever I was 16, 17, 18, when I was in college. I jumped into relationships before I even knew myself. Before I even knew who I was, I jumped into these relationships because I thought it was the done thing. I thought that this was going to bring me fulfillment, this was going to bring me happiness, I was going to feel complete. So instead of looking and instead of that, how about we reverse that and become before we find? So often, I'm going to find this, I'm going to find this, I'm going to find this, I'm going to keep searching to become, but what about to reverse that instead and become before we find? And some of you may say, oh, but Derek, you don't understand. I mean, I'm obsessed. Like this person, I mean, I'm just on their Instagram every day. I like every photo that they post. I'm kind of like stalking them in the school. You know, I see them at their locker in classroom, and some of you guys are probably not even there yet. But some of you guys are also thinking, but my heart says that I should. My heart, I get this little flutter. I get this little feeling whenever this person walks by, or I think that I've got a crush, right? And sometimes we're told to follow your heart. Have you ever heard that? You've heard follow your heart? Okay. So tonight I want to maybe challenge that a little bit. And instead of just going with the notion of, oh, follow your heart, do what your heart says. Well, how about you question your heart? How about instead of, oh, like I've got this sudden urge, this sudden inkling, oh, I've got this like little feeling, I'm going to jump 2 feet in. Well, instead of following your heart, how about sometimes you question your heart? Because sometimes, I don't know about you, sometimes I don't really like some people. You feel like that? And sometimes you're like, all I want to do is like slap them in the face or like poke them in the eye or like, I don't know, something aggressive. And so, right? You think that my heart is suddenly suddenly overcome with rage because you angered me, and so my heart is telling me, slap them, be angry towards them, say something. But if I followed my heart in that moment, I could get in a lot of trouble. If I followed my heart in that moment, I could get in a lot of trouble. I could get jail time. I could get, who knows? So Gee, that sounded really bad. Like, I promise you, I'm all good. That was really bad. So, I could get in a lot of trouble for that. So, instead of just jumping in 2 feet, following your heart, how about you question your heart instead? Instead of living by instincts. My next point is this. Theirs or mine. Everybody say theirs or mine. So whenever I was yours or a little bit older, as I said, I had this list. I had like this list kind of requirements. And I would go around and I would have like kind of a magnifying glass. And I would go and just be like, not literally like a magnifying glass going around high school, 'cause that's weird and dumb. But just play along with me. I had like this magnifying glass and I would just like hold it on a specific person. And I would just go down this list and see like, does this person meet all of like my 25 requirements? Like, and I would examine all of these different things. And maybe what we would call today deal breakers. You familiar with the term deal breakers? And so I would go down this list and I would hold this magnifying glass on these people. And so my challenge to you tonight as well is instead of looking at others and holding a magnifying glass just so close on other people, instead I needed to look into a mirror. Or a mirror, as y'all say. A mirror. I needed to look into a mirror and examine myself. Before I looked into possibly thinking about exploring something with somebody, I needed to take a hard look at myself and challenge my expectations. So some of you guys tonight may be thinking, I'm not even anywhere close to that. It's not even on my radar at all. Well, tonight, use this as a time of preparation, because maybe you begin to think of that as you're in high school. For some of you guys, I know some of you are in dating relationships now, and I challenge you, why do we just jump into the whole dating thing? Is it because it's trendy? Is it because it will make me look cool? Is it because, well, then I won't be alone and I've got somebody to be with? I challenge you tonight to examine yourself. To become who God wants you to be, to become who God intended you to be, and so in order that you are ready to be in relationship with somebody. Being in a relationship with somebody is not just like a fun thing to do. It's like, oh, I'm bored now, let's just go to the movies or whatever. It's not that. Whenever I was in college and high school, I just jumped from relationship to relationship because I thought that it was cool. I thought it was the thing, and I thought it was going to make me happy. Until I got to the point of looking into a magnifying glass, or looking into a mirror almost, and saying, God, you need to examine my heart, and God, I want to follow what you've got for me. And so, I've got some slides of me and Caitlin. Oh, and she's at the back, and she doesn't even know that I was going to show these slides. But that leads me forward. Just to wrap up. Before Caitlin and myself met, I was praying and I was like, God, I just feel empty, and I feel like I've been running around trying to find and to fill this void and fill this emptiness because it was the done thing. Or I've seen in the movies that it always ended up like these two people got married and they were going to live happily ever after, and I chased that and chased that and chased that, and nothing ever came from it. And I said, okay, God, I want you to guide me, and I want to see what you've got in store. And so, and then Caitlin and my lives crossed paths. And who would have thought? Somebody from Ireland, somebody from Franklin, Tennessee. But God did what God did, and here we are. And so those are some of our like little dates. Isn't that cute? We went painting one time. Yeah, we went painting, and we did painting. We did some pumpkin carving. We did some coffee. We did coffee a lot. But here's the point. It took Caitlin and myself until we were 25. Until we were 25, we met each other. And some of your parents, maybe it's the same, or maybe it's younger. But what I'm saying, like, for you now, as you're in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, you do not need to be jumping into relationships just because it's trendy, or because it's the done thing, or because it seems like it's fun. Tonight, As I said, it may not even be on your radar, but it will be at some stage. Question your heart. Ask God, God, what do you have for me? God, I want to become what you intend for me to be before I go out and start finding and searching. Next week, we're going to talk about friendships. We're going to talk about relationships with our friends and how we can have godly interactions with people around us. And so we hope that you'll join us for that.